We're back. What's going on, Zach?
Man, not too much. We're sitting here. We're in the middle of kind of a weird part of the calendar year when it comes to LSU sports and sports in general. It's strictly baseball. LSU obviously punched their ticket to the College World Series, so they're getting ready to gear up and play Arkansas in 48 hours. LSU football recruiting is kind of in the midst of a heater right now. They're about to start to make some big time moves here, and they made one today on June 12th. So big time things happening right now, but a unique time of the calendar. Really just baseball right now, some recruiting, summer workouts going on for football. So weird time, but obviously we'll make sure to hit on everything we know.
Yeah, let's start off with football. I know they got a big time recruit today. Offensive lineman. You want to talk about him?
Yeah, so LSU was really battling down the stretch with Ole Miss for four-star offensive tackle Emmanuel Tucker. This is a guy who was committed to Mississippi State for a really long time and ultimately kind of popped a couple weeks ago and reopened his recruitment. And LSU was going after him, Ole Miss was going after him, and this was a thing where he went on an official visit to both programs. He narrowed his focus to LSU and Ole Miss and kind of blocked out the noise for the rest. And LSU got that final visit, that kind of coveted final official last weekend, and he kind of went public with not public, but I guess internally went private with a commitment decision there when he was here in Baton Rouge. Popped today on June 12th, and it's a big one for LSU. This is a guy who's a 6'7", 285-pounder, the number one offensive tackle in Mississippi. So that's back-to-back years that LSU's gone into Mississippi and taken their number one offensive lineman. They got Tyler Miller from a year ago. So it's a border state. LSU always makes sure to kind of recruit heavily on those border states, whether it's Arkansas, they got Carius Kern last year. They love those Texas recruits, as every big time program does. And then Mississippi, they're starting to make some headway in that state as well. Obviously, right now you have Tristan Keys committed to the program, the number one wide receiver in the country. So they're making some big time moves on the trail to go out and get a guy like, obviously, Emmanuel Tucker is a big time. You want to solidify the trenches, but they're going to be battling for him until the buzzer in December during that early signing period. Ole Miss is not going to let up, and it's been pretty made clear to me that they're going to intensify their push even more now. So intrigued to see how that all plays out, but LSU has the verbal commitment right now, and they have the number two recruiting class in the country in that 2026 cycle. So an exciting time and some big time moves coming sooner.
Why did he say he committed LSU? What was the reason? Brad Davis, NIL? Did he specify or?
Yeah, man, it's that Brad Davis effect. I mean, this is a guy who's gotten a five-star in every single class since like 2021, 2022. So he's going out with a bang and continuing to make moves on that trail. There's a five-star on his radar right now in Darius Gray over out of Virginia. So this is a guy who's going to be in town for an official visit this weekend. Uh, the Brad Davis effect is real, Mike. Like, this is a guy who's got Will Campbell. He's obviously got Emory Jones. He went out and made moves in the past as well as the Lance Hurd, a five-star, despite him transferring to Tennessee. So he's a guru, and he's a perfectionist and a master of his craft. Every cliche you want to say is pretty much what Brad Davis is. And now he goes out today and makes a pretty big move, a pretty big splash to get Emmanuel Tucker.
Are they looking at any other offensive linemen? I know you just mentioned a guy from Virginia, but I know that what was that one guy? He's like a five-star.
Yeah, so
Crazy last
it's
name. I don't know.
Emmanuel Ahianacho,
Yeah.
and they're two five stars on their radar right now. They already had Emmanuel Ahianacho come in for an official visit earlier this month. LSU is going to battle Oregon down the stretch here. You have Penn State and Auburn having hats on the table, but it really seems like this is one that's coming down to an LSU versus Oregon battle, and it's going to be a fun one. This is a guy that Brad Davis is really starting to make headway with, and obviously you get him in for the official visit. It's big time. He trims his list to 4 or 5 schools after that. LSU's still kind of picking up some traction there. So Emmanuel Ahianacho is going to be a player to keep tabs on. He's the number one uncommitted prospect in the country, the number 3 overall player. This is a guy who is one of the who's who on the recruiting trail. So that's one to keep tabs on. And then Darius Gray, a 5-star offensive lineman from Virginia, a player that LSU is very well positioned for. He'll be in town this weekend for an official visit. He's excited to get back to Baton Rouge. So they're trying to position themselves well for those 2 5-stars. We'll see how many offensive linemen they take. I mean, you've already got 3 committed so far in Bryson Martinez, Jalen Chapman, and then today you get Emmanuel Tucker. So you got 3 guys pledged. Will they take 5? Will they take 6? How many offensive linemen do they want in this class? So we'll see what unfolds, but that big board is looking pretty sharp at this point in time.
Yeah, for sure. If you like look, if you looked on Twitter, like when they're like, what are they feeding these kids at Oregon, and then like it'll just show some like food that just looks terrible. Have you seen that?
Dude, it's crazy. Like they have Oregon, they have Michigan, they have all these guys that when they go on their official visits, it's like the food just doesn't compare to what they're getting here in Louisiana, of course. And speaking of Ian Acho, the dude went to Auburn last weekend and they misspelt his name on the placard at dinner. So like whoever that intern is getting fired nonetheless. But yeah, LSU's doing some different things, obviously with the dinners and stuff, with the food and kind of rolling out the red carpet. Oregon's handling business on the trail, though. I can't say too much about Dan Lanning and company. They are elite. But when it comes to the food, yeah, it doesn't get much better than Baton Rouge.
Did you see the comments for him? It was like, LSU put out Will Campbell and Emory Jones, and Oregon did this with Josh Connerly, and they're like Auburn. I forgot what Auburn said, but it was just like they basically said we haven't done shit, and you're going to be the first guy to come in here and do it. Did you see
I
that?
saw that. I saw that on Twitter. It's like, yeah, you talk about all the accolades that LSU has, like Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Will Campbell in the trenches, Emory Jones, and then there's like Auburn, who like there wasn't much to flex. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like you can be like one of the first players to come out here and make a statement. It's like, what kind of pitch is that, dude? Like, if I'm a recruit, I want to know your history and what you've done to produce NFL players. Not tell me that I'm gonna have to be the one to kind of carve out that path. I mean, it's a interesting selling point. Like I hear where they're coming from, but no, that's not it, man.
Sounds like it's the only selling point they got. So yeah, I guess it's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, what else recruiting wise? You said they got a big weekend. Who's probably like who's who of coming in for this weekend?
Yeah, so the month of June has treated this program really, really well. You get Bo Bentley in town, who's obviously the number one quarterback on their board, a top 5 quarterback in the country. You get him in town, and obviously it's a two-man race between LSU and Oklahoma for him right now. But moving forward into this weekend, Darius Gray's your headliner. Like that's the one that you really need to come out and swing for the fences and try to get him to not necessarily shut things down publicly, but get him to go kind of hop on that flight and get back to Virginia and feel comfortable about where he's at. He was in town during the spring and he took a really good visit where he felt comfortable with the program. But now is where you can put the icing on the cake and really, really try to get things done there. Bryson Cooley's another guy to keep tabs on too. But this weekend for me to keep tabs on is Darius Gray. I just want to see what the buzz is coming out of the visit. That's kind of your who's who that's going to be in town. You'll have probably 7, 8 official visitors in town, but Darius Gray is the one to keep tabs on just because he's such a coveted player.
Did you see Tristan Keys is going to Tennessee? I'm assuming you saw that, like, visiting rather, not committing, but yeah, seems like he's kind of shopping himself now.
It's interesting just because like when you're the number one player at your position, a 5-star, you're gonna get wined and dined by every single school in America. I mean, it's a given. He's visited Texas A&M officially, Miami officially, Tennessee now officially. I believe he was supposed to be at Auburn this weekend, but he flip flopped and went to Tennessee instead. So those are the ones that are on his radar. He's going to check out Alabama before it's all said and done, and then his final official visit is going to be to LSU during the weekend of June 20th. So he's going around. He's going around with his mom and getting that red carpet treatment, kind of getting the bells and whistles that all these programs can provide. But at the end of the day, LSU's got the verbal pledge. They're going to have to hold on tight, like I say, until the buzzer, until the early signing period in December. It's the top player at the position, man. This is a guy who's elite. He's a day one immediate impact player. This isn't a guy who's going to need any time to kind of sit back and get acclimated to college football life. This is a player that once he steps foot on campus, he's going to make an impact. So I think really highly of Tristan Keys. I think that's a dude. Like I think if LSU can get this one across the finish line, which they're very confident they can, this is a dude. Like this is one of those quote unquote up next guys. Like you have your Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Jarvis Landry, etc. This guy's firmly in that conversation. So you want to continue to keep a foot on the gas despite him checking out 5 other programs this summer.
Internally, LSU doesn't seem to be like too worried about it from what you've heard.
I think when you're in the new age of NIL and revenue sharing and money and contracts and whatnot's being thrown around and you have agents and all this stuff, you can never sit back and be comfortable with a commitment just because We've seen what happened with guys like Bryce Underwood, Cade Phillips, etc. Teams can come and swoop in at the buzzer. But LSU feels comfortable here just because you have a guy as your recruiting director named Donovan Tate, who is a Hattiesburg High alum. Where does Tristan Keys go? Hattiesburg High. So there's a kind of connection there that has helped LSU throughout this recruitment process, but you can never sit back and feel comfortable. One thing is for sure, Donovan Tate and company, Brian Kelly, the rest of the staff, they're going to keep a foot on the gas and intensify their push for Tristan Keys, especially during that final official visit to round out June.
Their selling point is like so easy too. Like look at all the receivers LSU's put in the NFL. Like look what we've done with it, talent, and then just look at all the guys that are about to leave. Like there's about to be a lot of opportunity as well. So good system, good opportunity, great culture. Like it should be a natural sell. And I mean, he is committed so far, but as recruiting has gone on the past couple of years, it's just a different world than NIL. Like you said, someone come in last second, but yeah, I hopefully they can get it across the finish line. Wasn't there another receiver that just decommitted? It was like Ken Darby or who was it?
Yeah,
A couple
so
weeks ago.
he's kind of in the same boat as Tristan, kind of just shopping around and checking out other schools. The one school that's squarely in the mix is Alabama. Darby's still committed to LSU right
Oh,
now,
it's
but
July 4th, right? That's when he's
yeah, so
playing.
he's going to make that final decision. I mean, it just talks a lot about the day and age that we're in, man. Like you got a kid committed to a school, but he's going to make a final commitment decision. Like it's just a unique time in college athletics where, I mean, a verbal commitment and just like verbal deals in life don't really, it is what it is. But it's hard to take people's words for things nowadays, especially with agents in the mix and money being thrown around. So Alabama's a heavy hitter here. They're one that has gotten him in for an official visit, and they continue to push all the right buttons. But LSU holds the commitment as it stands going into that July 4th final decision, and they feel comfortable. We'll see what ultimately happens. But Kenny Darby's a Louisiana receiver, and like you said, the selling point kind of sells itself.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think Kenny Darby has a really good opportunity to stay in Baton Rouge or come to Baton Rouge rather. He's a Bossier City guy, so he's up north Louisiana, but I think he has the opportunity to come down to Baton Rouge and make an impact. Would I be shocked to see him go to Alabama? No. It's just the day and age that we're in. Like I wouldn't be shocked to see anybody decommit nowadays. But you got guys who are shutting down their recruitment, like an Aiden Hall from Edna Carr, who isn't looking at any other schools. Jabari Mack hasn't looked at any other schools. So until guys shut down their recruitment officially and don't go on visits, it's tough because you get that red carpet treatment and you feel like the man. So it's challenging. My gut would tell me that Kenny Darby sticks, but we'll see what happens on July 4th.
Yeah. Anything else recruiting wise, football wise that you want to talk about?
No, man, LSU's rocking and rolling right now. They've got a big recruiting weekend coming up. Not this week. Obviously, this weekend's a big one, but next weekend is where it's going to be a big time one. That June 20th weekend, you're going to have all your in-state commitments in town. Tristan Keys, obviously, speaking of in-state, Lamar Brown, the five-star athlete who plays both ways in the trenches on the offensive line and defensive line. He'll be back on campus for an official visit. So this weekend's a big one, but next weekend's about as big as it gets. So you and I will talk next week, and we'll have some more details about what next weekend provides. But it's going steady. The number 2 recruiting class in the country, and they've got themselves pretty well positioned to get that number 1 class if everything goes right.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I wanted to talk about is we'll just stick on the LSU recruiting trail, but let's flip to baseball. Got an HCOD kid, Holy Cross kid. I'm blanking on his name, Dardar.
Seth Dardar.
Yeah. You want to talk about him for a second?
Yeah, this is a guy with a big bat. The best way to put it, he's got a big bat. He can swing the hell out of the bat, make contact, blast. I mean, this is a guy who, once he's in the box, this is a guy that you're excited to have up there no matter the time of the game. He's clutch. He can make any play that you want on the field, too. He's an infielder, so it's going to be interesting to see which position he plays in the infield. But he's a Swiss Army knife. This is a guy who can do it all defensively, and then he's got a really fast swing at the plate, man. This is a guy who hit 13 bombs last year, batted over 300, double-digit doubles. I mean, this is a guy that is a big-time addition for this team, started his career out at Columbia, and eventually made the move to Kansas State, where he made a big-time impact last year during the 2025 season. So once he entered the portal, it was pretty much a done deal that he was going to end up at LSU. It's that quote-unquote dream school. It's where he wanted to be, and Jay Johnson made the call. Both parties were interested, of course, and he pretty much shut things down right off the bat. So this is a guy that LSU is excited about. He's excited to be in Baton Rouge, and I expect some big time plays from him here. It's going to be a small transfer portal class for LSU baseball this year, but Jay Johnson gets who Jay Johnson wants, and he's going to make sure to make an impact and make sure that even if it is less than, let's say, 8, 7 guys, whatever it is, they're all going to be pretty impactful pieces.
Why do you think it's gonna be small? Because most of the teams returning. Like,
Yeah, your true freshman class is pretty elite. Derek Curiel, Kason Evans, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, William Schmidt. I mean, you're pretty set on this team, and you got guys coming back like obviously a Jake Brown, etc. So you're in a good spot on this roster. The retention is going to be pretty high. A bunch of just a bunch of critical pieces are going to be back in the mix for this team. So you just need to continue to develop those guys. You don't have to necessarily go into the portal and try to swing for the fences.
yeah, and then and they obviously got Braden Simpson. He's also a pretty big bat. One thing I noticed too, he can play all over the infield, and Dardar can also play all over the infield. So they obviously they got to replace new third baseman, new second baseman. Is Milam coming back? I'm assuming he is.
He's not draft eligible, so he'll be back if all things
Oh,
go
okay.
accordingly. Obviously, you never know what happens anymore nowadays, but the current expectation would be that Stephen Milam's going to be back in Baton Rouge.
I thought he was because I saw him comment something on Twitter that he's like not ranked highly or something like that as a shortstop. But yeah, okay, well that's good. I'm assuming Fry's coming back.
No, that's actually not guaranteed. He's draft eligible. This could be a guy who is cruising up pretty heavily right now. So he's an on the fence tweener kind of guy. Does he come back? Does he not? That's a name to monitor over the next couple of weeks.
I guess the problem with him, I mean, just for him, is just he's never really played a position in the field. He's been hurt and he's mostly been a DH. So I don't really know what does he even play when he does play. Wasn't he playing in the outfield sporadically?
I think a lot of MLB scouts are evaluating him as a first baseman, even though he didn't really get that many first base reps because of Jared Jones this season. But a plug and play guy, even if it's just as like a DH or something, this is a guy who's got a heavy bat, 6'6", 230. I mean, he's an absolute unit. So it's going to be interesting to see what plays
So
out with
what's the selling point? He's a first baseman next year.
that's the selling point that he could come back and really make an impact, obviously at the plate, but get some more reps under his belt in the field too, and start to boost that draft stock.
Yeah. Is Stanfield? Do you think Stanfield will come back?
He's a junior. He's draft eligible. He had a very big year this year. I mean, he upped his batting percentage by. I mean, he went from like 280 to like 306 or something.
Yeah, he's
Don't
over
quote me on
300.
those numbers, but he's
Yeah.
in the 300s, and I'm pretty sure he's leading the team in batting average. So um, his stock's pretty high. If I'm him, we'll see what happens. Another one like Fry, who has some decisions to make over the next couple of weeks.
So let's say Stanfield leaves and Fry comes back. So Fry first base, Dardar and Simpson second, third, whatever combination, Milam short, and then you put Curiel in center, Jake Brown in right, and then left field is
Up in the air.
freshman.
It could be a portal guy.
I hope Larson comes back. I really do. I've always been a Larson guy. He's kind of gotten buried under the depth chart with Pearson and Brown. Um, he had a big freshman year. He had a pretty solid freshman year, and then he kind of had that quad thing as well. So I kind of hope Larson sticks it out because I do think he could be something special. Trying to think anybody else. What else? Who else is left at the portal? I wanted to ask you that they're kind of targeting right now. I saw that they're going after that Baylor pitcher, right?
Yeah, so Carson Bailey's a guy that they made contact with. He was one of their weekend starters, and he had a really good true freshman campaign. Like this is a guy who is extremely talented. There's contact there. We'll see what transpires out of it. This is a guy who's going to be coveted pretty highly in the portal. But for right now, that's one of the public names that they've gone out and really pursued. Behind the scenes, they're making a lot of moves too. Obviously, it's the portal. It's a unique time because they're in the College World Series, but they got to recruit too. So they're making headway with a couple of guys, and I think you'll see some names start to pop soon.
Can you talk about it, or is that just like insider information?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think there's that many that can be said right now, just because some might be still playing, some might not still be. It's a unique time right now, just in the world
tampering.
of
Ah, you gotta love good old tampering.
of sports. So they might be, they might not, who knows? But even if they're in the portal, they don't. Baseball keeps everything pretty tight-lipped. They don't like even if they're already in the portal and not playing, baseball keeps things pretty tight-lipped. Jay Johnson's got that staff pretty quiet when it comes to stuff, so they like to keep it in house.
Didn't they host a bunch of people, a bunch of players? What was it? Was it the Little Rock weekend or was it
It was
the
actually the
West
West
Virginia?
Virginia weekend last weekend.
How many people did they host? Do you even know?
I think it was a handful. Seth Dardar being one of them, who was in town for a visit and obviously popped during the rain delay. I think, what was it, Sunday or something? So yeah, like there's a lot of movement being done behind the scenes. You've seen two go public. I'm just not sure how many guys they attack. I mean, this is one of those things where you got so much returning production. I don't know how worth it would be to go out and attack the portal and get double digit guys. I'd like to see them keep it around that 6 to 8 range.
Is that what you're projecting? 6 to 8?
For me personally, my gut would tell me that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It has been a little quiet. I mean, you do see all these other schools. Have you looked at what Georgia's doing?
Wes
Like,
Johnson's a maniac.
well, I think Wes Johnson must have gone to him like we need a lot of money, because it seems like they're picking up a lot of kids. So I'm sure they're throwing a lot of money at it, kind of get them over the hump. But yeah, no, every time I open up Twitter, it seems like Georgia's picking up a new recruit or a new transfer kid. So yeah, I think if LSU can get a couple more arms in the portal and then maybe another outfielder and yeah, hopefully, have a couple freshman pitchers contribute next year, I think they'll be in really good shape. So it'll be interesting to see how LSU attacks it. You want to do a little Omaha talk, a little preview?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we're less than 24 hours out now from the College World Series kind of getting cranking. LSU obviously plays in 48 hours. So we're entering crunch time, man. It's an exciting time for LSU. They've obviously got a damn good squad. So I'm excited to talk some ball.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Tough draw getting Arkansas first round, but LSU loves this shit. The first game seemed like football, baseball. It doesn't even matter. Just it's always a tough draw with them. So I think whoever wins game one will probably win it all, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see. How do you see game one going? Is Root starting? I'm assuming he is.
Yeah, so Zach Root's going to get the start for Arkansas. They came out today and confirmed that during the media day. So this is one where the game is going to obviously set the stage for who could win it all, obviously, like you said. And Jay Johnson made a really good point this week when he was addressing the media, kind of just saying, if we want to win the College World Series, we have to beat Arkansas at some point. We might as well play them in game one and see what happens from there. You get your ace, Cade Anderson, likely on the mound, going up against Zach Root, who's obviously an all-conference pitcher in his own. So it has a ton of juice. The matchup has all the buzz that you could want. It's the headliner. It's that prime time matchup. So the top two seeds remaining going head to head, it sets the stage for a really good one. I think LSU has a really good chance here. They handled business during the regular season. The bats were consistent against West Virginia. If you get that production at the plate from Stephen Milam, Josh Pearson, Curiel, Jared Jones continues to steadily get out of that slump, I see no reason why this team can't go all the way. I mean, 1 through 9, your lineup is set. Ethan Fry, who I didn't even get to mention, Stanfield is playing some good ball. The one slot that you've had some quote unquote inconsistency at the plate from is third base. Tanner Reeves has been probably 3 feet away from going yard a handful of times. Broswell's in a slump, obviously, that goes without saying.
Dude,
But
I don't get me started on Braswell.
I know, I know. You're passionate when it comes to Brozzi. So I get that. But the team, we'll say 8 of your 9 pieces in the lineup are playing exceptional ball. You're dominating. So now you just got to go out and continue to carry that momentum into this weekend against Arkansas.
Yeah, I think Reeves, once you could probably put on 10 pounds on an off-season program and bulk up and get a little bit stronger. I think he could be a real breakout player next year, especially kind of the need of third base. So yeah, I think he could step up. Do you see Braswell or you see Reeves getting the nod in game one?
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky, man. I got asked that today on the radio is what happens at third base and what do you think kind of changes are made in the lineup? And for me, I like Jared Jones being at that 6th spot. I think it helps with the lineup just having talent from top to bottom and not be super top heavy. I think I like Jared Jones at the 6th slot for right now. Will they do that? Who knows? But when it comes to third base, I would expect him to go with the veteran who's been there and kind of done that, and that'd be Braswell for now. Just the defensive intangibles that he has is where I think he would get the start.
Start Braswell, and if you give him two bats, and if he's not even showing any life, then just you gotta take him out. That's what I would do. But Jay Johnson ain't calling me about that, nor should he.
That's why he gets
Yeah,
paid millions of dollars to make
yeah.
those big time moves.
It was so funny, like when Jay Johnson was moving around the lineup, they're like, "What is he doing? He's being an idiot." I'm like, "Dude, relax." And then all of a sudden, then they put up like 10 runs. It's like, yeah, well, clearly he knew what he was doing. So,
Yeah, that's why he gets paid the big bucks, man. That's why I was sitting there. I'm like, he's either drunk or just the most strategic human being alive. And then you sit back and you look what transpires, and it's like, yeah, there's a reason
yeah.
why he's Jay Johnson.
Well, then the people on Twitter, like crazy LSU fans. I mean, there's enough of them to make enough noise, and it's like, what is he doing? Does he know what he's doing? He's like, I don't know if I trust Jay Johnson. And then like, it's like,
Well, you got
what
people
else
on
do you
there, bro.
got?
Like I see all these things on Twitter nowadays. Like people were comparing Jay Johnson to Ed O. I'm like,
Oh, that was short lived.
I'm like, you got it. Like the fact that that was even spewed out of someone's mouth or their Twitter fingers rather is nuts. Like I was sitting there, I was just like, what are we doing? What are we doing
Yeah,
here? LSU
like
fans they're the best, but man, they're relentless.
yeah, LSU fans, Bama fans. It's just like, okay, just okay, you don't win a championship every year. Yeah, that's the expectations. But I mean, I appreciate it though. I mean, that's the expectations. It's better than being a Pelicans fan where everyone talks about. Do you remember the Portland series 10 years ago? It's like,
Damn. Yeah.
ooh, that's the expectation. So there are high standards, and I think high standards brings big results. So, but yeah, no, Jay Johnson, best coach in college baseball, if not top three. So um, it's hard to complain what he's been doing. But yeah, that's all I got. Who's your sleeper team to win it all?
It's so casual. I hate it. So like I don't even want to say it just because it's the Cinderella story of Murray State. Obviously, I do some stuff for Ole Miss, so I had the chance to really sit back and watch them in that Oxford regional, and they just get so hot in such a short amount of time. I mean, hot in a hurry doesn't really like do it justice. It's remarkable. Once they get cooking, it's over. So I like Murray State as just a sleeper team. I mean, they're fun to watch. It's that Cinderella story. I mean, the fact that they're even in Omaha is crazy in itself. To go out and win the Oxford Regional, to go out and win a Super Regional, and now punch their ticket here is pretty insane. So why not ride with the only Cinderella story really in this entire College World Series? And I'd have to go with the Racers, man. They're fun to watch, and I don't know if they have the depth to do anything kind of substantial in this one, but hey, man, you get any type of win in Omaha, and it's a big deal for that program. It's an 800-person stadium that they've got. Their head coach cuts the grass. I don't know if you saw that post. Like,
I saw it earlier. Yeah.
it's the coolest story ever, man. So I got to ride with that team. You don't see that many Cinderellas that much anymore. So in baseball, that is. So I'd have to ride with Murray State, man. It's a very unique College World Series we've got. Obviously LSU and Arkansas, that top tier, and then after that, there's a little bit of a drop off. So I'm gonna go with the lowest seed in there and ride with Murray State.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know if Coastal's even a sleeper anymore. I mean, they're pretty well known. They got good pitching, they got good bats. So I'm gonna ride Coastal. I think Coastal can go kind of far. So
Yeah, why not? What Sun Belt team? They're
yeah,
riding like a 23 game win streak. They're hot as hell. Um, I feel like if there's one that has a actual chance to kind of make some noise, it'd probably be Coastal as that sleeper. So Murray State's the fun pick just because the Cinderella story. But if you're looking for a sleeper, you have to go with probably a Coastal.
yeah, Coastal. I don't like I said. I don't know if they're even a sleeper anymore. I think everyone kind of wide awake, kind of figuring
Yeah,
out who
they've
they
been doing
are.
this thing for a while now.
Yeah, so that's all I got. Do you think anything else you want to hit on?
Yeah, no, man. We hit some recruiting content. Obviously, we're in June. We're in the weird part of the calendar year. So knocked out a little recruiting. We'll have some more next week. Obviously, once that big time official visit weekend is creeping up, that June 20th weekend's huge. And then we got some stuff to talk about baseball, man. It's the College World Series. It's Omaha. It's Charles Schwab Field. It's the biggest stage for college baseball. So LSU's got a good opportunity this weekend. We'll see if they can seize it.
Who gets last on the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge?
Man, I wonder how many Murray State fans are traveling over there. I think a lot of people are going to buy some shots for Murray State, so I'm not going to say them. Maybe like a Louisville or something ridiculous, something stupid.
I'm going UCLA.
I'm with that too. That's the furthest travel probably, so I'd ride with that too.
Yeah, so all right, that's all I got. If you guys can like and subscribe, appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.